The blockchain is a small part of the whole internet. As humans, we are at a very, very early age of blockchain. It's like late 1990s for the internet. If you tell me I want to secure a mobile phone that I want to download all the applications I want on, it's almost impossible.
Marwan Alzarouni, an internationally recognized blockchain technology advocate, keynote speaker, and strategic advisor, the CEO of Dubai Blockchain Center. His goal is to conduct a comprehensive study to provide clear guidance on how digital assets can be encouraged and regulated.
Internet at that time in the early 2000s had a stigma that people were scared of it. Just like we're preventing our kids from using social media right now, people were preventing their kids from using the internet. If you focus always on the positive side of any technology, this is where you can drive adoption of it. If you focus on the negatives, you're actually creating fear-mongering and you're really scaring people from adopting it.
What currently is or is not on the blockchain?
A lot of the settlements in the background, whether it's a bank to bank, whether it's a government department to another, super apps like Dubai Now, a lot of these applications
Are on the blockchain?
are in the background on the blockchain.
Oh,
So you as a
okay.
consumer
we
do
don't
not see it.
We just don't know. Okay.
Yes, but the value is driven. The value is already delivered. Governments don't have as much data as you perceive.
Marwan, it's an honor to have you here on Zeno Talks. And, we're going to go right into it. And we want to hear your journey. But your journey is a very interesting one because not many people, especially in our generation, understand or have even, taken this leap into the blockchain world. So tell us a bit about yourself and what led you to get into the world of blockchain.
So when I was young, I realized that I love certain things, and it wasn't until I actually jumped into something called Science Club or Nad Al-Ilmi, when my uncle actually told us that we should go there and experience what these things are. And I jumped into several classes. One of them is taxidermy, out of all things, electronics, photography, and film development like تحميض باللغة العربية. And we used to do it actually in the bathroom. Because there was no other place that was dark enough to do this. But also computer science and programming. So programming I fell in love with as soon as I learned it. And we learned basic programming, which was a very kind of logical programming language. And I fell in love and I started programming in Arabic. And I كان في كمبيوتر صخر. And the same uncle, عمي محمود, هو اللي اشترى الكمبيوتر and let me use it. And then I convinced my dad لما is it Arabic or English?
Oh, it's in English.
English, okay. So I convinced my dad when I graduated from one of the grades, I don't remember which one. Instead of buying me a motorbike like my brothers, I convinced him to buy me a
computer. And that's where it all started.
Yes, 100%.
So your love for computers and coding and programming led you to get into this. But then, so you did you study your entire time in the UAE or did you study overseas?
No, I studied overseas as well. But when I went to study, I started with aviation actually. But then the computer came out, and the internet came out. And I loved it. I loved what internet stood for. And this was very early days in 1993, 1994. And I was like, internet is amazing. And I fell into the internet by going to an ACM pizza night. I didn't even know the internet existed. They just invited us and taught us about HTML. And I caught the bug straight away. And I loved the internet. I loved everything to do with the internet. And I spoke to all my friends, whether they are computer geeks or aeronautical scientists or aerospace engineers, all about HTML and how they can publish on this new kind of computer, new internet, and everyone in the world can see what they've done. So that's where I got started.
It's very interesting that you found it an attractive thing because I remember when I was in school and we were in the computer labs and then we'd see everything on like this, Microsoft, what was it, Doc or something at the time. It was just extremely ugly. There was nothing fascinating about it. Like, did you see it differently? Did you see it and say, oh, wow, there's potential in this? Like, you could see that at that time?
Yeah, so we had computers like IBM AIX, which was very monochromic, ugly kind of thing. Also Sun Microsystem, which was also the same ugliness with like a DOS prompt kind of system. But it was Linux-based. All of them were Linux-based at the time. There was no graphical user interface or anything like that. We had simple windows and simple graphics. But what made the internet very attractive is they had pictures and articles and HTML. You can format pictures.
Yeah.
We had animations with GIFs, which still survive,
Yeah.
surprisingly. But the GIFs that we have right now are actually videos. The GIFs that we had there was actually programmable animations of pictures following each other in the form of a movie or a rotating kind of graphic. But this is what made the early internet very exciting, is the interactivity of it.
Okay. You know, the only thing, look, because I despised the sound of like the modem connection at the time. It was just driving me crazy as a kid. But one thing I can tell you I did enjoy about computers is just like to open it all up and then put it back all the pieces again. I thought like, oh, wow, I'm a computer engineer. I know now how to put a computer together. And that was the closest thing. But I think from the software side, I wasn't that attracted to it. But I mean, people like yourself, Marwan, you know, sometimes they're inspired by the likes of like stuff like Star Trek and all the sci-fi. Were you into those kind of movies or cartoons?
No, not really.
No?
No, I
Really?
I was never
You wasn't
a
that kind of
sci-fi.
a geek.
No, I was like you, hardware, because I studied electronics also in the science club. And I really loved everything to do with like animals, like taxidermy, how things work. Like you said, you disassembled computers. I disassembled animals. You know, I just thought how things work, the mechanics internally within like living things and electronics and robotics and computers, logic, programming, that kind of stuff. When you get like a taste of all these things together when you're really young, it exposes you like to this like first principles.
Yeah.
Like by nature, you understand how a dog runs differently than a cat, than a frog.
Yeah.
The mechanics of it. And then when you're designing something like robotics, mimicking real life, you have this kind of knowledge of how the muscles work with the bones, how the joints work. It's an amazing and very lucky thing that I got stumbled into.
I'm surprised you don't work at Boston Dynamics.
I'm
They would
surprised.
have, with
I'm
everything
surprised
you just
myself
said,
as well.
you could be easily hired at Boston. That you probably would have come up with that robot dog many, many years ago before they even did it.
So one of my first projects in the science club was actually writing
Like a thesis
an
or-
AI,
okay.
an AI kind of conversational kind of
Conversation. Oh,
in
yeah,
Arabic.
yeah.
in
Oh,
Arabic.
okay, like
an
a
AI
script.
Yeah,
Conversation
it's
script in
that.
Arabic.
I forgot the test name, but it's the guy that wrote the program to break the Enigma machine. He had a test where if a human cannot determine what if the guy or the person he's talking to or the prompt there he's talking to is actually human or a computer, then you pass the test. So I was writing at that age a prompt that cannot be determined if it's a human or that kind of stuff. And I was challenging my friends to tell if I was on the other side or there was a script. Which was a computer, and I fooled some of them. So I kind of, I would say, at a young age, was like really keen on trying to see how the similarities is between living things and computers, and how can we bridge that gap.
You know, let me ask you this, Marwan. You mentioned a lot of times, this is the first time I ever heard this, that someone talks about coding in Arabic. Is it easier or harder to get into this field when you do things in Arabic? Because I feel, well, you know, everybody talks about how algebra came from Arabic and an Arab who invented algebra and everything. So was it easy or harder for you?
It wasn't easy or hard. It was native. So when I was younger, English was not really my first language. Arabic was my first language. So it was easy for me. Logically, you know, programming in Arabic, it was very natural. Then when I studied basic and I saw how basic worked, I just translated it to English, literally. I actually struggled the other way around. So all my life, until 12th grade, I learned math and Arabic. When I went to the US, I actually failed math, not because I didn't understand math, because this idea of X and Y was never introduced to me in the context of math. X and Y I knew only in the context of programming, which threw me off like crazy in the first year or so.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you think, in your opinion, now when you see that a lot of the things are done in English, do you think it's easier or better or just different?
I think it's different. I think we lost that kind of connection with Arabic in the early days of computing, especially in the 80s. So Sakhar was a huge brand here. A lot of my friends and colleagues, even on Dubai television, there was a TV show with an Arabic young kid as a host with a lot of Arabic programmers
Yeah.
coming on the show, programming in Arabic in Sakhar.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Those were the
We need
80s.
to pull all this out. And unfortunately, I was just watching Channel 33 the whole time.
This was on Channel 33
It
and
was?
Dubai Television as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Arabic channel.
I have a terrible memory. Probably I did watch and I forgot. I think there was something around that, but I think the only thing I was paying attention to is all the movies and Texas Ranger and watching Chuck Norris on Channel 33 and watching Captain Majid and
the
Dubai
A-Team,
TV.
of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But so moving on to that, mashallah, Marwan, you are constantly like in the headlines for all the good reasons when it comes to the space on digital Dubai, like in its entirety. So you tick a lot of boxes when it comes to like the Web3 space, talking about blockchain, talking about AI and machine learning and all these different things. So how did you come into the mix of all this, and how did they find you and say the government is like, Marwan, we have a mission for you. We need you to lead this file for the government of Dubai.
Yeah, I think it's all about projects, right? I am a results oriented guy, so I also build anything I believe in. So when we started, and as soon as I came back from the US, actually, I met Abdul Basit Al-Janahi.
Okay.
At the time, he was working in DIC, which is Dubai Internet City, and he said, you should work with us. And His Excellency Gergawi also said, like, he saw my resume, he said, you should work with us in DIC.
Yeah.
And then I started working with them also on another initiative called Emirates Internet Association,
Okay.
which is like the Dubai Blockchain Center, but across the whole UAE, and it was a non-profit led by His Highness
Really?
Sheikh Majtoumi. At the
Can
time.
you tell us a bit about what are these places? Oh, so what did you do at Dubai Internet City and then at this association?
So this association was literally trying to get more people to jump on the internet. Internet, believe it or not, at that time in the early 2000s, had a stigma that people were scared of it. They didn't know what it was. They said it's like bringing the good things and the bad things as well. And people wanted to avoid the bad things of the internet. So they were just like we're preventing our kids from using social media right now. People were preventing their kids from using the internet.
Interesting.
Because this preceded the proxy and other mechanisms where we can protect our kids from it. So everything was available.
But governments were already using it. Governments were already on the internet.
Even the governments were not actually. We had in most of the government departments, and this frustrated me the most actually.
Okay.
Intranets. So we didn't have internet because government departments were scared also to get hacked. Now we know
Interesting.
hacks is normal fact of life of being on the internet. You're connected, most likely, you're gonna get hacked at one point and the other. That's why you increase your security posture to make it less attractive for people to hack you, and you don't put sensitive information online. And other things, of course. But at that time, it was just because nobody understood it, it was scary for them. So what we started with is, for example, kids in schools. We do internet workshops for them. University, at the time, there was a few number of universities, including UAE University. We introduced Linux, which is a browser, Lynx it's called, not Linux. Lynx browser, which was monochrome, again, just text, just for people to get a taste of how to browse the internet. And then, of course, Netscape and other browsers and the community here introduced doctors to it, how to do research, and showed the positive side rather than put any light or shed any lights on the negatives.
Okay.
The same thing we're trying to do right now with the Dubai Blockchain Center. Showcase the positive use cases of blockchain technology and not really highlight or say anything about the negatives. If you focus always on the positive side of any technology, this is where you can drive adoption of it. If you focus on the negatives, you're actually creating fear-mongering and you're really scaring people from adopting it.
Yeah. So, okay, now let's dive into the blockchain. Okay. What currently is or is not on the blockchain?
Anything
Like
that's
today,
applicable.
what is on the, I'm on Google, Chrome, and all these different browsers and whatever. I know this is all on the internet. This is not on the blockchain. What is on the blockchain today?
Anything that needs a single source of truth, a single source of authenticity and provenance. So the blockchain is a small part of the whole internet. It's a very small part, and also as a society, as humans, we are at a very, very early age of the internet, of blockchain. It's like the 1990s, like late 1990s for the internet.
Okay.
We still don't have that huge adoption that people perceive that blockchain is everywhere. Blockchain is not everywhere. Even the market cap for blockchain is 1 trillion, which is nothing compared to the global financial market or even the lending market.
Yeah. But if we zoom in into the UAE, because the UAE has a blockchain strategy, 2021, they said 50% of the transactions in the UAE will be on the blockchain. So that's not small though.
Yeah.
Are 50%, I mean, it's 2023. Are 50% of transactions on the blockchain today?
Any applicable use cases, including settlement, this is the best use case for blockchain. So a lot of the settlements in the background, whether it's bank to bank, whether it's a government department to another, whether it's like super apps like Dubai Now, a lot of these applications
Are on the blockchain.
are in the background on the blockchain.
Oh,
so you as a
okay.
consumer
We
do
see
not
it.
see it.
We just don't know. Okay.
Yes, but the value is driven. The value is already delivered. You know,
by
the
the
value
way,
from the blockchain.
congratulations. Well done on Dubai Now. I love it. I'm telling you, I mean, everything is awesome on Dubai Now. I got married on Dubai Now.
All right, very good. I can't take credit for that. Of course, the Digital Dubai team.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job. We had a number of people who put blood, sweat, and tears onto this, and really build it in the right way. And you understand that bringing people together, it's not a technology problem; it's a people problem. And people giving up their data and giving up their, core kind of functionality of what they do as a department or as a regulator or otherwise, or even at private sector, at telecom and that kind of stuff. Payments is where it is right now, and payments is hard to give up to some third party. So just the human kind of bringing together this consensus that we should do it on a super app is a huge undertaking. And it's His Highness Sheikh Hamdan that had that vision to have a super app for payments and for convenience all in one place, and really told people on Twitter that they should be on this on a certain deadline.
Yeah.
And they had no choice. Once you give that direction and you give them that goal that everybody works towards, it's game over. There's no choice. You have to do it.
So today, I mean, like you said, on Dubai Now, for example, everything is there, right? It's like a one-stop shop, sort of like a super app in a way. So if that's So what are we? What's the other 50%? If this is 50%, what's the other half of 50%? Or the other half of the 100%?
Okay, so blockchain. What we saw. So from the insights we learned about blockchain delivers three kind of values so far. We haven't explored the whole potential of blockchain technology until now. There's a lot of things still to come. By the way. So we're at the tip of the iceberg right now. At the tip of the iceberg from the beginning in the UAE, from this experience in Dubai from 2016 till 2020 and beyond, we learned that there are three things that we can take value from. One is smart chain and programmable money. This is one aspect which we took full advantage of here in Dubai and in the UAE in general. The other part is settlements and value exchange, so exchange of deeds, exchange of money without a trusted third party, so you can do government kind of transactions without the involvement of the government or a regulator. So without a trusted third party, which is huge, by the way. You're removing all this red tape. You can do P2P transactions. Government has oversight, but is not the one that's allowing you to do it. We've seen in Dubai Now, for example, you can exchange land between me and you as Emiratis without any kind of oversight or any kind of interference for the transaction. You can explore, you can transact and kind of shit. Only at the last step it gets a digital stamp and that's it. But we are moving towards these kind of things.
But when are we gonna see, like when I lived in the States, I don't know if you did this as well, but there's always these apps like Cash App and Venmo and Zelle, like to transfer money between people, Is that something that's gonna be possible in the UAE soon?
Yes, it's already there actually. So
Really?
so if you look at Kareem has Kareem Pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the aspects.
So I can
Dubai
transfer
Now
money.
as well has payments online, a super app. You can pay private sector companies, telecoms, your fines, everything as one in one
No,
place.
but like being able to send you money.
Kareem does this
I
right
use
now.
Apple Pay for example. Or I used to use Apple. Apple Cash, not Apple Pay. Sorry, Apple Cash when I was if I could just transfer you like $50
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
100%.
Oh, you can do that now?
You can do that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Kareem Pay is one example. There's a lot of examples. I don't want to give free
advertising
plugs.
for these guys. Yeah.
But Kareem is a super app already, by the way. Kareem, you can do deliveries, payments, P2P payments, a lot of other stuff with it as well.
Okay, so now that we talked about blockchain, so one of the things that came out of this being on the blockchain is obviously the big elephant in the room, the metaverse. Everybody talks about the metaverse, and there's two camps about the metaverse. There's the very pro, and everybody's like, yeah, this is the next big thing. And then there are a lot of like the naysayers about it. I mean, it's kind of going back to when you talked about people trying to adopt the internet, and then there was people who just enjoyed the intranet, did not want to be on the internet and whatever. Do you feel that there's that kind of pushback happening now with the metaverse? And what is it anyways to begin with?
If we were at the 1% mark with blockchain, we're at the 0.1% of the metaverse. Okay. We don't have the tech yet. So remember you said you were annoyed with the dial-up sound of the modem. This is the annoyances that we have right now. Latency is one of the biggest killers right now, but I see almost every single day game companies coming up with latency solutions. Mm-hmm. I see telecoms coming in with alternative, kind of hardware and software kind of solutions. This will come. The tech will come. How long this tech comes, how fast it comes, and how mass adoption does it get? How long does it take to get mass adoption? This is going to be accelerated. So if you take the pace that we are in right now, and this does not get accelerated, we're going to take around 5 to 10 years to get to the metaverse as people want it, where it's going to be frictionless or with a little friction, right? But if we consider the path that we're going in with AI and other things, and how it had one caveat or one kind of thing that was stopping it, but then you got one kind of project that shifted the kind of narrative, like ChatGPT for AI, for example, then you'll see a lot of money coming in, mass adoption coming in, and accelerated kind of growth within it. Same thing will happen with the metaverse. You will see one kind of hardware or software or initiative that will flip that switch, and then you see huge growth in that area. That kind of super kind of application with the metaverse we haven't seen, but once it comes, you will see a huge change.
So, do these things really have an implication on the environment? So, for example, everybody talks about like mining when it comes to like crypto, and they say, wow, they use a lot of energy and everything else and whatever. So, I'll just let you share your thoughts on it. Is there repercussions?
So with everything in life, if you use computing, you are spending electricity. But if you're using computing that is environmentally friendly, you're using less electricity. The lucky thing that we have with computing is you can change the mechanism, you can change the logic. Remember, for example, I'll give you an example of mining, for example. Mining is proof of work, right? You have to use computing power to guess a puzzle, which is start with a certain number of zeros, and the more zeros you have, the more difficult the puzzle is, the more key space is exposed, the more difficult it becomes, and the more electricity you'll need and computing power to solve it. This is one aspect, right? You can flip a switch, just like Ethereum did. Went from proof of work, changed the code to proof of stake, which uses negligible amount of electricity and provides good consensus. It's not as good as something like proof of work.
Environmentally friendly coin.
It's much more environmentally friendly. It has its challenges as well. But if you strike a balance between the two, there are projects that are doing that are doing proof of work for some aspects and proof of stake for some other aspects. It's a slider that you can play around with. And the advantage you have, it is software. Software you can change.
Okay, but does blockchain have an impact, a negative impact on the environment?
I would say it's negligible, to be honest.
Okay.
Overall, and even the market size and the impact on overall electricity, I would say printing a paper and printers will use maybe more electricity, but I could be wrong as well. So.
Well, they do say about an iron. And they say the ironing board at home, that probably uses the most amount of electricity or something like that.
So mining uses typically around the maximum you can do in a household, which is 1,200 watts. They don't usually go above that, and 13 amperes. So that's the normal capacity of an extension wire. So they don't usually go above that. And a lot of household items, anything that tells you plug directly to the socket, it is 13 amperes and it's 1,200 watts usually, because that's the max.
So through your advocacy on blockchain, what has been your most significant like learning, or that was a surprise that you learned about the blockchain itself?
I think mining was the biggest shock for me, because I didn't get into blockchain because of mining, but mining was like that light bulb kind of moment, right? For me, I realized, wow, this is a game changer. Like I understood computing, I understood hardware, software. I did my PhD in mobile phone forensics, which was both hardware and software, and I thought I knew enough that, okay, there's nothing that can surprise me that much. But when I read the Bitcoin white paper and then I saw ASIC mining, I was like, wow, this is a really good kind of use of technology in creating a worldwide kind of money system out of nothing.
That's really cool. Okay, let's talk about what you studied at your PhD, mobile phone forensics. That is very, very cool. Not a lot of people study that program. So is there anything as real, like, when they say military grade encryption or encrypted, like phone, does that even exist? Is it true?
Yeah, you can actually. So there's nothing 100%. So it all is as a function of difficulty again.
Okay.
So now,
how many walls you put through, or how resilient or whatever you make.
So the security is as good as your weakest link. Right?
True.
So in the mobile, if you look at the mobile phone, it is not a simple device. It's a very complicated device. You have the hardware, you have the software, you have the BIOS, which is another layer between the hardware and software, and where you actually program chips and chipsets which are on the mobile phone. That's another attack vector. And then you have on top of that the controlling, substrate or whatever they call it, substrate or whatever they call it. And then you have the operating system, and you have the applications on top. And then within the applications, you have different kind of inputs, outputs coming in. Every single one of those has to be locked down.
Okay.
And it's extremely hard to do. So if you tell me I want to secure a mobile phone that I want to download all the applications I want on, it's almost impossible. And no one in the world can do it, no matter how strong you are, no matter what you claim. Because every single one of those aspects I mentioned has a weakness. And combined together, it is a huge thing to do. But if you make a made-for-purpose mobile phone using non-conventional technologies, it is security through insecurity. This is number one, because the effort required to actually understand what it does, it's a lot. And then even if they try to attack it, it's very expensive for them to do, and not a lot of people will be using that phone, so it's not worth the effort. Again, it comes to that effort versus reward kind of thing.
Interesting. So, let me ask you this: when it comes to security and like phone security, like how bad is it for me to put my security code as like my date of birth? Or my name?
It's all relevant to you. I'll give you an analogy again around cryptocurrencies. Consider your phone as your wallet. You carry your ID with you, right? It has your date of birth. If you lose your wallet, it's not a big deal. You don't carry millions of dollars or dirhams on your wallet. You carry whatever you're going to use every day. It's the same thing. Use the same analogy.
So it's relative to the kind of content or value that I have in my...
I don't take thousands of dirhams with me in the wallet. I take hundreds of dirhams with me in my wallet.
Okay.
And crypto wallets on my phone, I have hundreds of dollars, not thousands. But in my secure storage and secure wallets, I have much more than that.
Okay. Well, you drive a Tesla. Can that be hacked?
Of course, yes.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
He said it wasn't. Elon Musk said specifically that the Tesla cannot be hacked, and I trusted
Tesla
Elon Musk.
is an e-cart computer on an e-cart. This is the simplest way you can put it, and it's
a computer on wheels.
Computer on wheels, so it is hackable. It has internet connection, so it has a vector of attack, so people can get to it remotely as well.
That's really interesting. But that's surprising because you drive one.
Yeah.
Are you not afraid somebody can...
I'm taking risks.
Yeah, because you have like a Picasso painting on your car, so like technically that's pretty... You just increase the value of your Tesla.
Yes, 100%.
But you're fine with it.
Yeah.
Well, because you've got other cars too, so...
Yeah, but again, It's all, there's nothing 100% risk proof. Life, you driving your car in the street, that's risky as well. We're sitting here, that's risky as well. Everything is a function of risk. You try to lower your risks, but nothing is 100%.
Your thoughts on social credit? They do that in China. Do you think every place should be adopting that?
Look, it is again one of those slider things, right? Let's consider technologies such as like zero knowledge proofs. A lot of people saying, okay, anything that's ambiguous is bad. You use cash, right? You pay me with cash. When you go to pay for your gas in a gas station or pay for groceries, you opt in, right? You want to pay for cash, which is again anonymous money, I would call it, or pay with your credit card, which is not anonymous money. It's convenience versus anonymity. It's whichever slider you value. As a consumer, you're empowered to that. Same thing with something like social score and that kind of stuff, or central bank digital currency. You as a consumer can pay with that if you opt in to use it, or you can pay with cryptocurrencies, and you can pay with other things, or cash. Even cash is still there.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. But you didn't answer that part, which is, do you think it's right?
I don't know. This is the question. It is a slider. So I'll give you another analogy. Okay, so I have medical information, right? And that's private to me. If I want to share that with my doctor so he can give me a better opinion, that's a good thing. Even my travel, if I want to share information with Google, with another big tech company, it's going to make my life easier to go from point A to point B. If I opt out of this, I want to use another map provider like Garmin or some other provider. It is not interactive. It doesn't give me live traffic. It's a lot of things, but I'm giving out a little information to them, if not anything. I'm not giving literally anything to them, but it's inconveniencing me. Information is power.
Yeah.
You have the power and the onus on yourself. Whatever you give out, if you are comfortable of getting that something back, whether it is from a government or from a big tech company and that kind of stuff. Big techs now, or big tech companies have much more data than you think. Governments don't have as much data as you perceive.
Okay.
Yes, we have some data as government departments and that kind of stuff, and it makes your life as a citizen, resident, tourist easier. But at the same time, it comes at the cost of you actually divulging that kind of data to us, right, for convenience purposes.
Yeah.
It is a slider. Some countries will preserve much more privacy, like Europe, for example, and they are on the consumer side, but the experience in Europe is not going to be as good as an experience, for example, in the US or in China or Africa or other places. Yeah. But if you go to the other extreme as well, it's not a good thing as well, because you literally have nothing private.
Yeah. So no, I mean, with them, it's literally like everything.
Freedom is not an extreme this way or that way. Freedom is a slider.
Yeah. That's I like that analogy. We know that the UAE, we have in Dubai created VARA, so you're the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. How successful are we so far with attracting companies in virtual assets and blockchain and everything else?
I think it's a huge initiative. I think it's a huge signal actually to the world that we do things differently. Yeah. Right. We are a regulator. We are a country or a city as well that does things their way. They use innovation. They use dialogue. They use partnership with the public sector to achieve what they want. We don't stick to the overall formula of doing things. VARA is a testament to that. VARA is a virtual asset regulator that is done from the ground up for this asset class that everybody else in the world try to peg to the normal financial systems and draw analogies and try to fit something that doesn't fit in those analogies to what they perceive as the right way. Yeah. When you have the dialogue with this kind of thing, even with the internet days, we have one of the highest internet penetration anywhere in the world, in the UAE. And the reason for that is that open dialogue. We allow things on the internet, but at the same time, block things that are harmful to our kids. We have a good balance going forward. Same thing applies to cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
We block the bad actors.
Yeah.
We do even notifications. So Bara does an amazing job of notifying the public of what projects that are doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And encouraging and licensing the projects that are doing the right thing. Again, when you have technology, encourage the good actors. It's the right thing to do.
Marwan, it's an absolute honor to have someone with so much passion and dedication that you hold. And I think from the time I've ever met you and known you till today, you still carry that with you. And I think the UAE is extremely fortunate to have someone like you to be at the helm of this particular industry and something that is innovative and has a lot of potential for growth. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing.
My
you
pleasure.
have a lot of fans.
And the future and the feeling is mutual towards you, Amar, as well. You're doing a great job. Of course, anybody who does any kind of work without somebody highlighting it and somebody actually bringing that out and platforms like this is useless, because it's what's the benefit of doing some work and that nobody knows about.
Thank you for joining Zeno Talks. I hope you'll come back again. There's more to talk.
No issues. I would love to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.